Before we start, the name is at the top right of the screen. Damien's perspective. After class, Damien loves reading books to his younger siblings, listening to the sound of reading books, taking a nap with his siblings who fell asleep while he sang lullabies. Damien's most beloved routine is enjoying snacks together, all synchronized with Laurentius' accurate belly clock. But ever since Mikhail saved the younger siblings, Damien willingly gives up his bedtime routine. Mikhail's perspective. With only a busy grandfather as family, Mikhail found the sight of the newly born baby very fascinating. But he was not sure how to approach the baby being even closer to a sword at 6 years old. There was no malice in Mikhail's mischievous pranks. Anastasia's perspective. In conclusion, she thinks it is her fault. She knows she must have said something annoying that day. He questioned if she called his name. That one word became a source of trouble. Feeling hurt that she was called Mikhail's name before the families, everyone spent the whole day calling his name to comfort Damien. Moreover, since Mikhail stole her first step, how upset must her brother be? She is aware there's a bit of self-blame for her too. She tried not to resort to this method, but there is no other way. She yells and starts to cry, making everyone worried. She cries, saying stuff. Damien looks at him, asking him what she means. Mikhail responds that the baby is afraid, saying no. Damien tells her that he was wrong. Mikhail also mentions he was wrong. She wishes for both of them to apologize to each other instead of her. She points at Mikhail as they stand in front of each other. Mikhail sighs as he mentions he is sorry for putting his precious sister in danger. Damien also mentions that he also told him to not come and he got worried seeing him getting along with his sibling. Mikhail mentions he does not have a younger sibling, so he did not know how to handle a baby, and questions if Damien could teach him. Damien seems to be bothered by what he said earlier as Mikhail tells him it is not like that and he really did not know, and if Damien will teach him he will follow his lead. Mikhail mentions that he will ask him and he really does not know what is dangerous. Mikhail extends his hand as Damien holds it. Damien agrees to help since it is just a friend's request. Mikhail questions so they have reconciled and is it okay for him to interact with Anastasia now. Damien agrees. Mikhail finds it a relief. Anastasia wonders, is it because it has been a while since she cried? As she already feels like she is tired. She notices her eyelids are too heavy. They both notice that she is sleepy and thinks a short nap should be okay as they wish her a good night. Anastasia wonders that she must have slept in Damien's arm. She wonders if she is in a dream right now. She wishes to wake up quickly before she hears someone asking for help. She turns around to see a baby type of figure locked in chains. It again asks for help as she wonders what is this. Anastasia realizes that her consciousness is hazy and her body is being pulled on its own towards that thing. She finds it unbelievable that it could be a real existence. She wonders what on earth is this before it mentions it is her only understanding. Her hand is moving on its own as she wishes for it to stop. Anastasia questions if that thing has been reborn 100 times like her. Suddenly there are strong winds causing Anastasia to cover her eyes. As she slowly opens them again, she sees a baby girl. She tells Anastasia to not forget that she is her only. As the baby girl approaches her, she stops for a second because of hearing a voice. Anastasia finds this voice similar. She suddenly wakes up and finds her family worried as they call out to her. Anastasia wonders why are they all looking so scared. Her mom leans towards her as tears fall down her cheek. She mentions that Anastasia cannot imagine how worried they were all week with the fever not going down. Anastasia wonders if she suffered for a whole week. Her mom tells her that Lara will take the pain for her, so she should not get sick anymore. Anastasia's brother mentions that if she is going to be sick, then he should get sick instead. Her dad mentions that for his kids to be strong, it's better if he gets sick. Mikhail stares at them. Anastasia's dad thanks Mikhail and mentions it is all thanks to him. He responds that it is nothing special and it was something he could do. Her father pats him some more and mentions that in times like this he should not decline. He mentions that during the challenging week when Anastasia was unwell, he even went all the way to the distant Grand Lord to get the medicine. A priest mentioned that it seemed like Anastasia had been cursed by an unknown name. When the high priest said that, everyone was so surprised, but thanks to Mikhail, the medicine he brought was able to wake Anastasia up. Anastasia's mom thanks Mikhail as well. Anastasia ponders that even if it is a distant Grand Lord, it could not have been a short distance and she has incurred a debt to Mikhail again following the last time. She wonders, what kind of curse has she got this time? She lived many lives and became immune to these tricks, but to be lured into a dream is not enough. She knows there is also someone who dares to take away her reserved strength without hesitation. She realizes, as expected, her 100th life won't be smooth either. She realizes this place was so crazy that she forgot her faith for a while, the absolute principle of her life. She knows she needs to grow quickly so she can use her strength properly and give as much depth as she can find and endure. Her mother calls her and tells her to please grow up healthy. She embraces her and says please. But before that, for the Nolan family, being the youngest comes first. From then on, for about a month, she fell asleep with a strong enchantment for the first time in thousands of years. And thanks to her body growing reasonably well, using her strength only resulted in a slight fever. Fortunately, there were no more encounters with unwelcome guests. As time passes, it is her 9 months after birth. Her dad tells her to come towards him. She has trouble walking towards him, but ponders that she can do it. She can walk on her own. She takes her first step as she ponders one step at a time, carefully before she trips, but her father catches her. His father hugs her and she questions if anyone saw she took 3 steps on her own. His father asks if anyone saw how his youngest walked alone. She knows this is the least she can do right now, but questions if anyone saw how amazing she was. It was truly an elegant sight for his father. Anastasia was worried about not growing up quickly, but now that information gathering has become more efficient, she feels relieved. His father questions that now her youngest can walk on her own. So are the rest of the knights training properly? Anastasia finds it confusing as she ponders what does training for baby steps and knights have to do with each other. She knows her father is confusing her. The knight mentions that it may not compare to the lady, but everyone is making an effort. The other one states that he will work even harder so he doesn't fall behind the youngest lady's process. Her father mentions that he heard that during the last move from the Viscount to Grand Duke there was someone who lagged behind. He continues that now that it is spring it is time to check the skills of the knights after a long time. He orders a martial arts competition during the April festival. The knight's expressions are filled with anxiousness as he tells everyone to be prepared. Anastasia wonders if her father is using the excuse of a business evaluation right now. Her dad lifts her in the air as he mentions the protagonist of that festival is her. Laura runs to the room and calls out to Anastasia as she hugs her. She mentions that Anastasia is the princess of the festival. A maid says that Anastasia's hair is still short, so wouldn't it be nice to have a hat that covers all of her hair? Another maid mentions it will look cute even if she wears a ribbon headband that matches the color of the dress. Her mom says that it is spring and after a long time, so how about using yellow fabric? The maid questions, what did Madame wear as her first dress when she was young? She responds that her first dress was like white with yellow trim. The maid thinks that the yellow dress will really suit Anastasia. They state that Anastasia looks exactly like Madame. She has a pretty face and has been elegant since she is young. Her jet black hair and even her ruby red eyes are exactly like her. Her mom mentions that Anastasia seemed so happy when she saw someone resembling her. She decides to let her wear yellow during the martial arts competition. She knows bright yellow color is cuter when worn in young age. The mid mentions as expected of her, she definitely likes it as a cute chick. Her mother mentions that she thought it would look like a forsythia flower. The woman tells her not to worry since they will prepare dresses that look like forsythia flowers and also dresses that look like cute chicks. Her mother questions if she will really do that and it will work out just fine. Her mother mentions that Anastasia still has very few dresses and if they would take this opportunity to make more. She tells them to make a very pretty one and questions if they can do it. The preparations for the festival became even more lively due to her father's sudden announcement that a martial arts competition would be held. The knights were all excited that they will definitely win. One said that he will swing his sword 3,000 times every day for the martial arts competition held for the youngest lady. In particular, their escorts voluntarily trained all night long. All kinds of strange phenomena are occurring. The maids also wonder what they should embroider. The other mentions that she is going to embroider the flowers and initials that the driver said he liked last time. The maids also had pink cheeks, confessions and all. She guesses it is because it is spring. It's a really good time for everyone. Time passed and it was mid-April, the day of the martial arts competition. A maid was feeding Anastasia. Her dress was about to get dirty before the head maid took care of the situation. She scolded the maid that today is an important day and she had told her to be more careful than usual. She asked what would have happened if there had been a stain on the dress. Apologizes, as the head maid mentioned, this is a dress that the madam specially ordered for today. The head maid continues that if she had spilled it on her clothes, she and her would have both been fired today. Anastasia points at the maid and calls out to her as the maid with teary eyes questions if the lady is comforting her. She mentions that, as expected, their young lady has a really kind heart and she is so jealous of her partner who will be with her today. The maid questions who will be her partner today. Anastasia ponders. She guesses it was an unusual situation because of her partner. The maid wonders if it is Master Damien. She then tells Anastasia that it seems like her partner has arrived. She wonders if she's unlucky or the winner in this case. Her partner is Mikhail as he greets her. She heard that he went to the Grand Duchy and it seems like it has been a month since she last saw him. He told her that unfortunately he is the youngest lady's partner today. He mentioned that she was uncomfortable being hugged by him today, so he practiced a lot when he went to the Grand Duke's residence this time. He questions if she will allow him to be her escort today as he gets down on one knee. Her mom informs all participants that the winner of this martial arts competition will receive prize money, and another honor is also given. It will be an honor to receive flowers from Laurentia and Anastasia. Anastasia ponders that Mikhail said that he practiced hard, but his baby holding skills are terrible, and this is most inconvenient. Two knights mention that they will definitely receive flowers from Anastasia, and the victory is theirs. They promise to receive it and give it to the master Damien. Her mother asks if they would like to say a word of encouragement for the competitors. Laura tells them that she will cheer for them. Damien mentions that he believes they will keep their word about winning, and they have his trust. They then look at Anastasia for her turn. She's confused as she ponders what do they want from a baby who just turned 10 months old, as only ugly blabbering will come out. Mikhail tells her to not worry because he will tell everyone. She ponders that is not the problem. All the night looks towards her as if they cannot wait to listen to her speech. She knows she cannot help it. She says something as Mikhail questions if everyone was able to carefully listen to what the youngest lady said. He states that she told them to win. They all promise to do their best. Mikhail asks if she would like to say something to him too. She seems confused before he mentions that he is also going. She questions if he is going to jump in between those big knights. She knows during the last kidnapping incident she knew that his skills were better than those of a no-nonsense apprentice knight. But still she knows the difference in strength and size cannot be ignored. She questions won't he get hurt then? He is only a 6-year-old child. He questions does not she support him, and thinks he can win at least once if she supports him. She tries to tell him something before he questions if she means that he should not get hurt, and it is not about winning. She mentions yes, he's right. He puts her down and gets down on one knee as he mentions that he needs to work harder to show her how cool he is. He says that he cannot help it and he will just say it is okay and come back. He questions instead, should he say this school if he wins even once? She tries to look away as he mentions that the youngest princess pretends not to notice again. She never thought that she would keep stirring something that only her brother told her was cool before. They begin their first sparring as she realizes it looks like it is starting soon and wonders where is her father, the organizer. He calls out to them as she wonders why her father's voice was heard at the convention. Her father waves at them as he mentions that he will get them flowers. Anastasia feels like an adult is involved in the fight. Anastasia finds her dad really uncool in front of her family and wonders if he looks like an immature son-in-law. Laura cheers for her dad and mentions he is the best. He is happy and mentions he expected it and tells her to wait a minute. Anastasia ponders that her father's intrusion is a bit odd to see, but she is curious about the sparring itself. Damien is holding her as she feels comfortable to be held by her brother. She continues that looking at the reactions of the knights and the way her father treated them, she is sure that he has great skills, but she has a hard time imagining it. The sparring competition begins. Her father wishes the knight good luck. She thinks that he seems like a different person than before. Even though she is just far away, she still feels intimidated. The knight is anxious as his lord launches over him. His father tells the knight to strengthen his lower body and maintain his balance. Anastasia wonders if it is a competition or training. She knows no matter how big the difference in skill is, they don't even know about competing. She ponders that it will be soon over. The knight admits his defeat. His lord starts to cheer up as he asks his kids if he was cool. Anastasia ponders that she thinks it would have been really cool if he had not said that. In the next match, Mikhail faced a knight 10 years older than him. Perhaps aware of the size difference, as soon as the flag goes up, he quickly approaches and delivers an effective hit. Taking advantage of the panic, he threw his sword and won the final match of the first round. Anastasia thinks that if it had lasted longer, it would probably have been disadvantageous to Mikhail. He surely has a great fighting sense. She wonders if it is good luck or bad luck, because the first opponent in the second round is her father. The match begins as Mikhail launches at him. Anastasia has expected this expression from her dad as he looks relaxed. Damien questions, is not their father amazing? She ponders that Mikhail knows he cannot win against father. Instead of losing momentum, he is doing his best to chase after her dad. An inmate's sense of swordsmanship at the young age of 6, and he also has the will to win. She knows that 10 years later, he will grow to a similar level as her father, and maybe in 20 years, he could become the best knight of the continent. She understands that she won't be there at that time, so she won't know. And she cannot go past 20, so that is truly regrettable, so she stopped making disciplines. In other words, there were people who wanted to become strong. She taught those who asked her to learn without caring about their age and status. Not once did she see her disciplines reach the heights, because she always died before that. Or perhaps they betrayed her. 8 out of 10 betrayals, 1 died prematurely, another one was the long-term plastic surgery. She knows that she has lived quite a turbulent life, and habits are really scary things. Watching the two people sparring, she's constantly evaluating his qualities. She ponders that maybe she still wants to leave something behind. Damien mentions that Anastasia really likes Mikhail, and he should also have participated and shown his school side to her. Anastasia is confused before she ponders it is a misunderstanding, and how can she like a little kid? Damien questions if she is saying that he is cool, more cooler than Mikhail. She ponders why does he keep asking the obvious. Damien mentions that if he is, then he is lucky, and wonders if Mikhail will be disappointed if he hears this. She gets this feeling again in this life. She wants to live with her family. She thought just having that motivation was enough. From the day she met a strange baby in her dream, the emotions she had been suppressing so tightly created ripples and encouraged her to be greedy, to want to be with the people she is attached to for a long time. She knows to do that she has to start by looking into that suspicious baby. Mikhail Leventes delivered effective hits to her father, but he was eliminated in the second round. His lord mentions that he has improved a lot since last time. Mikhail thanks his lordship. As everyone expected, the winner of the martial arts competition is her father. They bring flowers to her father as he calls them his babies. Laura hugs him and mentions that Laura's dad is the best. Anastasia also gives him the flowers, causing him to gently blush. He mentions that he is so happy this year. His babies are so cute and lovely, while Anastasia sighs. Mikhail questions when will the youngest princess stop pretending not to listen. Special arts competition had so many twists and turns. His lordship mentions that he will continue to receive congratulations from his babies as his wife tells him to save some face as she hits him on the side. Their time ended safely, with her father being hit on the side about 3 times by her mother. She calls out to her lord and mentions she misses him. 2 people are in the restaurant, as one mentions to think that the Duke would provide meat alcohol for free. He mentions that the Duke is the best. The other one questions is it because the youngest daughter of the Duke is also participating in this year's festival. This feels more joyful. The man responds that after this festival in April, it will be the farmer's busy season, so the leisure will also end today. He tells the other person to just eat his heart out. That way he will gain some energy to work. The other man questions between the Duke and the Madam. Who does he think will the youngest daughter of the Duke take a resemblance to? The gray-haired man asks if he has been thinking about that instead of eating, and mentions he is not sure like the others would not she resembled the Duke. The other responds that he cannot be certain of it. There might be a variable this time. A man suddenly opens the door and mentions the Duke's parade has reached the front. Whoever wants to see, hurry up and come out. Everyone leaves as the man questions, where are they going? And they need to serve the customers. Everyone comes outside as the man questions is not he right. He told them there would be a variable this time. After the tournament ended, Father, who was in a good mood, provided the territory people with plenty of alcohol and meat. Finally, riding our roofless garage, he even went on a parade. His father mentions that he cannot just pass up this festival where his lovely daughters are the awardees. Anastasia ponders it sounds like quite a plausible excuse, but as long as he is satisfied. Laura mentions that she feels like a princess. Anastasia wonders that being embarrassed is the role of these 2 people. They all wish to gain energy this year too, and work their best and know that there is truly no other lord that can take better care of them every spring. They know as the Duke is a good person, they are sure the young lord and miss will grow to be lovely. Anastasia finds it an interesting sight. She looks at her father as she realizes she has never seen someone as high as a Duke interact this casually with the commoners. She realizes through Artiwor's festival the Duke solved the territory residents' fatigue, and by making up various excuses the Duke filled their stomachs. She knows that is why everyone looks bright, and it has been a while since she has seen a proper leader who works like this. She wonders if she was too little, they would not have been able to see her unless she went out separately. She notices a flower bucket as a knight mentions this child has given these flowers to the miss. Anastasia ponders that the knights that participated in the tournament should have been resting. So why is he here? Her mum thanks the kid for a pretty flower. She tells the knight to rest today, but he responds that if he rests for too long, his body will not be firm. Anastasia realizes that the knights of the duchy are truly faithful. She knows before this life, when she was living a knight, she doesn't think she did this much. She wonders as long as she did not betray her lord and protect him, wouldn't it be just fine? If she showed her skills, whether it was a noble or a king, even if they were trembling in fear, they would just keep her by their side. Among those, there was a person who watched over her and begged her to not die, although it was an extremely selfish reason. Flashback. A woman mentioned if she dies, who will protect her? The other woman said that if she doesn't die, the princess will die instead and questioned if that will be okay with her. The woman said that she knows, but she's afraid and mentions it is alright, the princess will grow well even without her. The grumbling ill-tempered princess who was only in her 10 seconds. Anastasia honestly had quite affection for her. She put a lot of protection spells on her right before she died. Anastasia wonders if the princess safely made it to her adulthood. She finds it weird how up until now, she has almost never thought of any past events like this before. She wonders of all times, in the moment of death, why did the faces of the people whom she worries about have to appear? She knows it does not matter and it is just a memory. It is better not to dwell on it for the sake of her future. It seems like she will be able to use her power soon, so she really needs to call the assistants. Mikhail questions why she is putting such a serious expression and mentions that he won his first round match today. Wasn't he so cool? She wonders when did he get here. He asks her what should he do to hear her say that he is as cool as her brother. He mentions that he has even gone as far as practicing on how to hold a baby. She wonders if that is a skill that one needs practice for. He gives her a feeder and mentions, as expected, a baby is a baby. He tells her to hold it well so that she does not drop it. He mentioned that he also wants to hear her say that he is cool, and questions if he beats a duke. Will she say that he's cool? She ponders if only he had not said those words. She would have said that he was cool. The after party of the festival went well and before she knew it, time flew by and it is already the end of May. The butler tells the madam that it is already midnight, and she should take some rest. She responds that he can rest first, and she's planning to lie down after she is done organizing her overdue diary. She tells him, as he knows she was particularly busy this month and the kids will grow up in no time, so she will regret not keeping records of everything. The butler leaves, as he mentions he will prepare the chamomile tea to help her with her sleep. She thanks him as she continues writing. She writes on May 5th that first Laurencia's birthday she was extremely delighted to get a pink birthday cake like her hair color. She finds that side of her very lovely. On May 14th, Anastasia's lower teeth have grown and wonders how could they be so small. The servants brought some toys for her and looked at her expectantly. However, should she say that, she was putting on a troubled expression. And on today, the 21st of May, Anastasia finally climbed up the sofa. She finds it regretful that she was not able to see it for herself. She wishes she could have seen it herself. To commemorate her climbing up the sofa, they held a celebratory dinner in the evening. She knows before she knew it, Anastasia would soon be 11 months old and wonders how did she grow so fast. She thinks it would be nice if she just grew slowly. Anastasia opens her eyes and finds the maid sleeping. Anastasia ponders that it was like that too when she first rolled over, but she did not expect they would celebrate this much over her climbing a sofa. She knows this side of her family still feels new to her. The maid is tired from preparing the party as she sleeps. Anastasia finds it relieved that things turned out to be more effortless than she'd planned. Anastasia uses her magic and wonders if she should call them now. Something flies over as she hugs it and mentions that she has missed it and calls it an evil lord. She knows it has been a long time. Big-mouthed information collector Choco. It looks like a dog with wings as it cries. Choco complains and questions why did not she want to see Choco for the last 20 years and he has been waiting for her. He has missed her so much. He mentions that he always thinks of her when he looks at the sky and he barked a lot while he was waiting for her. She ponders if she told him that she did not want to see him because he is talkative, would he get angry? She has another special ability. It is that she can summon people she used in her previous life. She met Choco in her 13th life when she was the evil lord. He was her informant who was with her all her life. And in the 99th life, everything was annoying. She spent 20 years doing nothing, even collecting information. Choco questions why she did not pet him when he is so cute. She responds she cannot beat him when he is there and she has always been like that. She knows even if she had circumstances her talkative dog must have been long. She knows he is the only person around her who she can talk to about her long life, which makes her sad. She called out to Choco and mentions there's something who entered her dreams. Choco looks around and questions, is it a nightmare or is it hell? She responds, it is just a normal place. Choco mentions, how dare someone enter the dreams of the evil lord? Choco cannot hold on to his patience. He curses that person and questions all he has to do is find that person, right? Yes, she mentions that she also asks him to give her some information about this world. He questions why does she want it and she has lived a harsh life. She promised Choco that she will live a comfortable life from now on. He continues that she promised him 1,000 years ago that she would never put up being with a mother anymore, even though he has not been able to meet the evil lord for 20 years. She mentions that she doesn't mind, but Choco replies that he does not like this. He mentions every time it is the evil lord who suffers and everyone must be saved. Choco does not like this. She ponders that he was hurting instead of her, and she did not really mind. She has been exposed to many betrayals in her life, so she faced many difficulties to save herself. But this family is showing her a way of favor without expecting anything from her. Or should she say compensation that she enjoyed for 11 months. Anastasia hugs him and mentions she is doing it because she wants to do it for him this time. Choco responds that she always says that. She says that he can watch her from the side, but this time she will summon him. He asks really, before she responds that is what she wants to do, so she is asking him to do it. To acquire responds that he understands. As he leaves he mentions Choco is the evil lord's goat henchman, so Choco will listen. According to the information Choco gave her, in this world there are 2 kingdoms and 1 empire. There are large and small states as well as sacred states, of which the Pope is king. A familiar world made up of people who wield sacred and magical powers. She wonders, maybe that is why they say there's a magical tower near the duchy. She wonders why is there a magic tower in a kingdom and not the empire that is famous for magic. Since the empire aspires to control the continent, the presence of this magic tower is very important. She wonders if perhaps there are still more secrets hidden. She also feels uncomfortable for some reason. Choco cries as he mentions he is sorry since he failed to find anything important. Aside from Choco, she tried hard to find information about the intruder, but she could not. She wants to discover the empire now, but she cannot because the kingdom is in the limit of her power now. She knows it is not like anyone is attacking her now, and just having to Choco gathering information for her is useful. She decides to not be so worried because her mother said the same thing. Lately, she has been working hard to grow quickly. She walks, climbs the sofa, practices pronunciation, etc. Unlike people who like hard-working children, her mother is different. Her mother questions, why does her daughter tire herself out? She mentions that she wants nothing more than her to grow up healthy, and she hopes Anastasia will be her child for a long time. Anastasia thanks her mother for reducing her worries, but then wonders as if her words could penetrate her. Things have been fine for over 2 months, so she has peace of mind in the belief that things will be fine in the future as well. Choco mentions that this is the first time he has seen the evil lord so comfortable. And as expected, the evil lord is the best and Choco is the most for the evil lord. Anastasia laughs because of Choco, but the maid gets happy because she thinks Anastasia laughed at her skill at feeding babies. Anastasia ponders that the reason she was smiling was because Choco was cute. She knows this is a misunderstanding that does not need to be resolved. Choco in puppy form is only visible to her eyes. She told him to be just careful in case, but as expected, the wizard did not even notice him. She knows the good thing is that Choco can play with peace of mind next to her, and the bad thing is that she's the only one listening to all this annoying chatter. She knows well that is the way things should be. Mikhail questions when did she have a puppy. Anastasia is worried as she wonders if he saw it. She knows even the wizard did not notice him, so why did he do it? Mikhail extends his hand to grab it as he wonders if it is a doll. Anastasia knows no matter how strange he is, she cannot let him touch the air. She responds it is a doll. He questions if she likes this kind of dolls, and so does she like the doll that Damien offers her. He continues that last time he gave her a lot of similar things, but she did not like them. He mentions so this is also not her type. He asks her what does she think of her red dress. She wonders why she's suddenly talking about the dress. He questions if she does not like Ruby, and mentions he loves it because it looks just like her eyes. She is silent as she ponders he will get annoying if she answers him as her intuition tells her. He goes to ask her another question if she likes fireworks, or bright yellow chick-shaped doll. She knows she did not respond to him even once, but he kept talking. She cannot believe the information Choco brought her. He questions what does she think about a jewelry mine. She cannot believe that the Duke of Levante Mikhail is famous for his silence. Mikhail confidently claimed that he was able to walk in just 6 months, but he did not talk, even after he had completed a year, which caused Duke and his wife to be worried. She heard they called a famous priest and they also called a doctor to make sure nothing was wrong. Thanks to him, she knew that her family was not the only one suffering. But fortunately, he said his first words soon. Mama, Papa, this is what he said. There is even a rumor that the Archduke's family was turned upside down by the unexpected event. However, even after that, he was famous for only saying what was necessary. 2 years ago, it is said that after the death of his parents he became less talkative. Perhaps the reason Grand Duke Leventis sent Mikhail to their duchy was under the pretext of teaching the caliphs. She finds it weird that he seems embarrassed with Laura. She knows that Laura is very friendly, so she thinks it was easy for him to become friends with her, and knows Mikhail did not say much when he first came here. She wonders, could it be because he was shy? Choco also said he could not know the details. However, she heard that he speaks very little. She wonders why on earth is he doing this to her. He calls her inventions. This time he really wants to hear her say that he's cool, and he also wants to see her smiling face. He questions if she could help him a little. Anastasia ponders, in fact, if this is a useful request, she wants to decline it. He mentions that it is almost her birthday, and he is thinking about what to give her as a present, and what does she think. Anastasia is confused as she ponders. She sees that she was born as the youngest child in this foolish family, and it has already been a year, so it's already been 1 year, and she feels like the last time was so wasted. She knows she has always had 20 years of life as a curse. The maid calls her as it is time for snack. The maid asks her if Lady Laura is not here. The maid ponders that it is strange since she asked her to call them earlier. Laura stands behind a tree, hiding. Earlier the maid mentioned that Anastasia is playing in the garden and could Laura invite her for a snack. Laura excitedly agreed and left for her. She stopped as she saw Mikhail and Anastasia together. She saw Mikhail smiling. Earlier, when she had asked him to play with her, he did not smile and mentioned that he does not want to and he has a class. One time, when she asked him to call her Laura, he still called her Princess Laurencia and left. With each passing day, their feelings and problems intervene. Time accumulates, and before they knew it, a year ago in the summer, her 100th life began with great disappointment. But what can she say now? She's excited. She wonders if it is okay for her to feel like this. Today is her birthday. It is hard to believe for her how much time has passed. There was no one to take care of her, and she had no intention of taking care of herself, because every year her birthday seemed like a limited time. Even worse if she has a difficult life. She knows this time it is a little different, and even she was surprised. Instead of having dull emotions, she feels a small, quiet joy, as if her long-forgotten feelings had resurfaced. She thinks just hearing happy birthday from her family would be enough to fill her heart. Her mom questions what dresses would she like to wear today. Anastasia wonders what is all this. Her mom mentions that this is a very important party. Anastasia wonders, is it like grabbing an object in her first life? She remembers back then she grabbed a thread, but she died before she reached 20, since she lived almost 2,000 years altogether. Maybe it was correct. Her mom mentions that they say the rest she chooses for her first birthday determines her future partner. That partner could be her husband, colleague, and her friend. Her mother chose a pink dress when she was little. There were emeralds in the hair accessories. Anastasia realizes that's how she got father. My mother mentions that Anastasia is smart. Questions since then. Wasn't their father their mother's partner? She mentions that he is someone their mom can trust and love more than anything else, and she was also able to give birth to her youngest child, who was so beautiful. So the first dress she chooses will definitely bring her trustworthy partner for the rest of her life. Anastasia thinks that in another life, if someone else had told her that, she would not have believed it. She would not have that luck. But when her mom said that, somehow it made her anticipate the possibility of this happening, even for a short time. He knows very well that this feeling is not as scary as she expected. Anastasia chooses a dress and wonders. She thought it was white. It shimmers in different colors as the light hits the cloth. Beautiful colors and lace. It is a simple dress but decorated and colorful. She feels like her mother's thoughts about her are coming. She thinks maybe her mother wants her to have many trustworthy partners. She knows it has a nice smell. Maybe she was desperate for someone who had lived 100 lives, but the hopes that she had never expected. Her mother brought them to prayers for her. It has been a full 12 months since she started living in this house. After the first time, she would not be surprised by any party preparations anymore. So firmly determined, she was prepared. She questions, what is this? It is a statue of her. She ponders families that go by your imagination really, and wonders where did they get this in the first place. Mikhail smiles at her as she realizes it is him since it looked like a familiar ruby. She decides to go somewhere else as he wonders if she did not like it. She sees her birthday cake and finds it a huge and beautiful cake. She knows it is her birthday, and to have only beautiful things around, she feels like a dream. Her dad calls her as she runs towards him. He hugs her. He wishes her a sincerely happy birthday. The knights and maids also wishes happy birthday. They mention that time flies and they do not know how grateful they are to have been able to spend this year together with her. The maid mentions that the dress she personally chose for today will surely bring good fortune towards her. She wonders what is the occasion for this, because everyone genuinely holds affection for the Duke. Now is the time to send heartfelt congratulations. She thanks everyone. The first birthday party of this life was filled with fascinating and special things. Various fruits prepared for her to taste and the renewed imperial orchestra playing gentle melodies, and many unknown nobles with elegant manners before her. A birthday gift is set by Marquis to congratulate her. She thought she had adapted to all kinds of parties, but a party where she's the protagonist is different. Although she is at home, she feels like she is not. His dad calls her and questions, is it okay for him to request the first dance with his daughter? She wonders, dance with a 12-month-old kid. It is weird, but she will accept it. The music plays as he gets down on one knee. He lifts her up on the air and mentions that his moon really dances so well. She ponders, even if she's just in father's hands. He mentions it because she is their daughter. She will dance well. She knows as long as it looks enjoyable, it does not matter. Laura tells all of them to dance with love. Damien mentions that he also wants to dance with the youngest, so he should not monopolize. Mikhail mentions that he also wants to request a dance from Anastasia. Anastasia's mother mentions that since her husband is not holding her hand today, should she try talking to someone else. This causes him to be sad as he mentions that he seems to want to monopolize his youngest hand, and tells her to please hold his hand. Laura and Army holds Anastasia's hand as she questions, how about dancing with her siblings? Damien tells Laura to take it a little slow since Anastasia is still a baby. They decide to take it slow since she is the youngest. Laura runs around here and there as Anastasia ponders. Her stamina is truly remarkable. She wishes to take a short break. Mikhail asks her if she would like him to sing her a song. She says sure, since this guy is still left. Everyone starts to dance, which causes Anastasia to smile. Mikhail questions if she just smiled right now. He tells her that he will practice more in the future to dance so that he can make the youngest lady smile. In this type C, ponders that he really does not know how to give up. But even though his persistence can be annoying, she does not hate it. As a family joining hands and dancing together, although the party concluded in the afternoon, their parents allowed the servants to enjoy themselves until late in the evening. For that reason, they ended up spending the evening time as a family, like a gathering. Laura hugs Anastasia. As she mentions she is the older sister, so she guesses that is fine, but questions, isn't it nice for Sasha to walk holding hands with her older sister and brother? Looking back, a year passed quickly. Although there is still a lingering fear of getting too quickly immersed in this warmth, she decides to just go to sleep now. Nevertheless, she vowed to cherish and enjoy each day here. Her dad tells her that tonight he will take her in. He pats her as she ponders. Every time like this, she has to cast the barrier. She falls asleep and in her dreams she sees the same baby as she realizes no wonder it felt uncomfortable, and curses the baby as she mentions it is here again. She calls the baby a punk as the baby mentions that is too harsh of a word. She questions if Anastasia did not miss her. She mentions for the first time in a while the door was wide open, so she thought Anastasia was inviting her. Anastasia mentions that she never invited her and questions who is she. The baby questions if Anastasia has forgotten her, and that makes her sad. The baby takes a step closer to her and questions, how about this form? Anastasia suddenly gets started as she ponders. Even though it is an area of unconsciousness, it is still impressive that he can freely change his body, and wonders how much power does he have. She has no idea what this guy does and wonders what is he. The guy mentions if he should give her a hint. She wonders, what does that mean? She turns into her from the first life. She asks him how did he know this form of her. He responds that he can easily show at least one of her old appearances, because he is the only one who understands her. He tells her it is almost time and apologizes for being rude last time. He mentions that he will be waiting for the day she will come to visit him. She is stunned as she questions, what did he just say? She wakes up from her dream as she realizes it seems like it was a dream for just one night this time. She realizes that he called her name. At the last moment, although his voice was blurry, it was definitely her name from her first life. She knows she should not forget, but her consciousness is blurred due to the fever. She calls out to Choco and tells him to find the whereabouts of the punk who just invaded her dream. Choco tells her to leave it to him and he will quickly find him, so she should get some rest. She knows she cannot take this anymore. At this time she will fail, so he should come and see her. This time she will leave the door open for him since she has a lot to ask him. 2 weeks later, she knows that Punk really did not have any manners. She did not put up the barrier on purpose, but he still did not show up. Thanks to someone, she is lying down with a high fever in the mansion. She questions if he knows how hard it was to comfort her crying sister. She decides to come down first. She knows he is also a reincarnated person like her, and he could also be the reincarnated person who has lived longer than her. She knows that also explains why he said he understands her. If she meets a reincarnated person, she would want to approach them too. However, if he is not a reincarnated person, then he is the one who reincarnated her. For example, an absolute or God. She ponders, then he should not have stated he is someone who understands her. He is nothing but an enemy to her. Either way, she is not sure. If it is the second one, then why did he come to see her now? She asks Choco if he found out. Choco apologized, he could not find out who he was. She questions, does that mean he has found out the location? He responds, of course, if he could not find it even when she gave him a clue he would not come due to embarrassment. He tells her the smell was very faint, but he worked really hard and even crossed a mountain range. She questioned if he crossed the Action Empire. He mentions that is right, but he did not like that place because it is weird. It is different from her pure and beautiful magical powers. The information Choco brought about the Action Empire was suspicious in more than one or two ways. Strange magical powers. The center of the struggle for continental supremacy. News about weapons that use magic and that punk. For the year, her faith became blurred, though she did not forget. The time of destruction is coming to the world where she has been born. She cannot help but suspect the Action Empire is the main factor in the upcoming destruction. Their kingdom was among the countries they were targeting, and they should be prepared. It is not just about preventing destruction. It is also to protect the daily life of her family until the final moment, because that is the only way to repay the affection she received. Laura suddenly gets into her room anxiously and mentions that something is happening at the need to get ready quickly. She wonders, could it be that there are already signs of destruction? She knows she is not prepared yet. First, she has to follow along and inspect the situation. Later, it turns out it is a family vacation. His lordship mentions that he family chose places they did not go 2 years ago. Anastasia feels stupid for feeling tense. Even in her first life, she only heard about summer vacation from her friends. His father tells them that they just need to go a little further and they will arrive. Hi Mom questions if Anastasia would like to see the view. Anastasia feels excited, which is very unlike her. The destruction has not started yet, so it is probably okay to enjoy a little. She did not know that she would experience even more unexpected things during this summer vacation. Make sure to like and comment if you want another part. Peace out.